Brian Flechsig of Mad River Outfitters, the Midwest Fly Fishing Schools, and I'm coming at you early November 2025 from central Pennsylvania. In fact, we're on the legendary Spruce Creek. In fact, we're staying at the cabin where Jimmy Carter often stayed on the property of Wayne Harpster. Just a beautiful piece of property. I've got a lot of history here. I started teaching fly fishing schools here on this water many, many years ago in the 90s. In fact, a big part of getting started in fly fishing, it was a VHS tape that we did back in the 90s, was mostly filmed right here on Spruce Creek and the Little Juniata. But anyways, this is probably our last outdoor filming of the season, although we've got Cuba coming up in December, but this is our last outdoor filming in the Midwest, and we move into holiday mode. And a lot of people have been asking for a vest loadout. And we've filmed a bunch of videos here on Spruce Creek. You're going to see quite a few with Tim Flagler and Marvin Cash. We've got Mark Melnick from the New Fly Fisher. But anyway, so we thought we'd do a quick vest loadout of the things that I'm carrying here with me on this particular trout trip to Spruce Creek. And so, first and foremost, we'll jump up over here on the right side. My two most often used fly floatants, high and dry liquid and the high and dry gel. Those are the two that I use most often, and those are in the most convenient pocket. And I use the liquid more so it goes on top. You always got to be thinking. And then over here, I've got the dry shake, which I use when a fly is waterlogged. And then I've got the dry shake with a brush, which if you've seen me fish soft tackles, I incessantly brush my soft tackles with this powder. So let's stay on the pockets over here. I've got strike indicators. Of course, I've got a mess of Oros in the smaller size. I've got a couple of blacks in there in case I'm fishing a real glary area. I can actually see the black in that glare. And then I also like this Loon BioStrike. I'll use this from time to time. It's like Play-Doh, and you can mold it to any size, shape that you want. You can put 2 or 3 up your leader, and I still use this BioStrike quite often as well. And then over here, I've got my split shot of 10 split shot, of course. And then I've got this Snake River mud. If you're not familiar with Snake River mud, this stuff is really cool, and you can wipe down your tippet and your leader, and first of all, it helps it sink. It also takes some of the sheen off of it, but I also use this on dry fly leaders because theoretically you want the tippet right next to your dry fly to actually sink. Some people use fluorocarbon for the dry fly tippets because it breaks through the meniscus or breaks through the surface tension of the water and doesn't create that meniscus. So I always carry the Snake River mud. In fact, I carry this with me bone fishing as well, because you can rub it into a bonefish fly, rub it on the leader, take some of the sheen off, and helps it to sink a little bit faster, because as you all know, I don't often use fluorocarbon. All right, let's go to our inside pockets. I've got an outside pocket, and this is my soft tackles and wets, which I was using extensively on this trip. On the inside pocket, I've got my Costa sunglass cleaning kit, which has a cleaning cloth and the spray. I use the spray a lot, not so much here on this trip, but in saltwater, you've got to have the cleaning solution to wipe the salt off. And then I've got my standard nymph box. As you can see, labeled there, labeled there, labeled there. So always put the label up so you can see it when you open your pocket. Over here in this inside pocket, I've got my fish pond digital thermometer. I've got a little bit of toilet paper in a Ziploc bag. That's, of course, in case you have to blow your nose. And I have a leader straightener. Yes, the #1 selling item at Mad River Outfitters over the years is, in fact, a leader straightener. We sell thousands of these per year, and it is a helpful item, especially on dry fly leaders. You can straighten a leader with your fingers, but if your hands are cold or wet, it's going to make a difference. And then in this pocket, I have my leader wallet. It's labeled for trout fishing. This has all kinds of different leaders. I've got poly leaders, I've got dry fly leaders, I have nymph leaders, I do have a few package leaders which I use from time to time. But my leader wallet is right there, always on my right hand pocket. And then over here, clipped on, I've got a pair of hemostats. And then I have my fly banjo, which is the latest, greatest fly dryer. If you haven't seen the fly banjo, there's probably a video right there, if not, down in the description. So the fly banjo, really pretty cool. You just loop it on to any zipper or loop on your vest. I've just got mine hanging right here. And all you do when your fly is waterlogged, just put the hook around that little loop in the silicone, pull it fairly tight. I'm just pulling on my tippet, and you just pluck away like you're in Deliverance. Just plucking away on the banjo. Of course, in my world, it would be a mandolin. But that's the fly banjo, and it works, man. It really dries a fly. There's been a lot of great reviews from a lot of great dry fly anglers that are a lot better than I am. And that way you're not having to retreat with any paste or anything. I still carry fly floating, but it really does do a great job. So you can check out the fly banjo at madriveroutfitters.com. On this side, I've got a tippet holder, and I have my most often used tippets that I would use on this trip. On an interior pocket, I've got extra spools of tippet material. And on this side, I've got some egg patterns. We were using some egg patterns on this trip. These fish are spawning. And again, make sure my label goes up. I think I had that incorrectly. Yeah, sorry about that. Another fly box here. This one is unlabeled because it's secret flies. This is a box I've used in the Smokies in Montana this season. You always have to have your boomerang snips. I use the boomerang snips for trimming all kinds of things, trimming hackles, my high and dry paste floating, which I mostly use on leaders, on furled leaders, poly leaders, and on the butt sections of my nymph leaders. That stuff works great. And then I've got, in this pocket, I've got a loon, basically catch and release or loon release tool. I take this on saltwater trips too, so I've got the little Chums floaty thing on there. And then my New Zealand strike indicator kit. We'll use that a lot on this trip when the Oros or some of the other brands are too much. I've got the New Zealand strike indicator kit. Of course, I'll often have a water bottle with me, maybe a snack or two. This is a little fly drying patch. You see I clean this off after every trip, religiously. No, this is darn near a whole season of trout fishing. And then on the back of the net of the vest is, of course, my net. And I've got this magnetic net retainer. You all have seen those before. I think this is the one made by Loon, if I'm not mistaken. And then this is just kind of I don't know, it's a sentimental thing or maybe superstitious thing, but I always like to carry a lucky charm with me, a seasonal lucky charm of some sorts. Hey, I think it makes a difference. I think you should look into doing it. And since it's fall here, this whole trip I've been carrying a pumpkin in the back of my vest. You know, I think it's made a big difference. I think I caught one or two more fish because I had it. I don't know. So I am a vest guy. I'm a vest guy. I wear a vest. I know a lot of y'all like chest packs or sling packs, and that's fine. You can do whatever you want. But I'm a vest guy. I grew up wearing a vest. When I trout fish, this is what I'm wearing. I'll often change things up, but most of what you saw there is pretty much staple for what I carry on almost any trout trip. So there you have it, friends. I hope that helps. Thank you all for asking to see that. What do I carry in my vest? I know some folks have given me some flack that I carry the kitchen sink, and it does weigh 86 pounds or thereabouts. Although if I come winter and I switch over to my holly wreath, it'll weigh a lot less because that pumpkin has added a lot of weight this week, but that's okay. It's important. I'm not superstitious, just kind of stitious. That's very true. So anyways, thanks for watching. We appreciate you. Be sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel, hit the like button, register for our monthly newsletter, and stay tuned. We've got a ton more fly fishing and fly tying content coming your way.